Rafael, it's a real pleasure to be with you.
All right, first, it's a pleasure for me to be here, Bernard, with you today as well. And coming to your question, what are the three key reasons for having an academy? First, we strongly believe, and I always say that, since we decided to put the academy together, that investing on people is the best investment a company can actually have. So really trying to develop people, in our opinion, would be the best way for achieving excellence level of performance within the company. So we will have the fastest payback. That's how we normally put that this way. The second element is that we are in a frequent change in this procurement environment that we're living in, with all the things that are happening in the market lately, with all the changes that we have as well in the different industries, especially in the energy industry. Getting people ready for the unforeseen is something that became crucial on our type of business. And the third element, I would say, is that we have had people based on the different mergers, based on the different integrations with different levels of capabilities within the company. So these different levels of capabilities within the company trigger the need of somehow homogenize the capabilities of the people and getting people into the same level of performance. So from our perspective, those would be the three major reasons for having a supply chain academy. First, I would say have very clear on your mind what you want to have within your academy. Is that something that you're planning to aim in order to develop the hardcore skills of a buyer? Or is that something that you want to have in order to focus as well on soft skills, for instance? In our case, our academy was very focused on the hardcore skills. So we had very clear from the very beginning that what we wanted to do is that we wanted to invest on the technical capabilities of our people as being buyers. The second advice, search for the right partner. We found in EIPM the right partner for putting this thing together with us from the very beginning. And we did everything together from the very beginning until now. So we developed the CV, we developed how it should look like. We basically we created our supply chain academy. So that would be my second advice. Search for the right partner on doing that. The third one, have a very close alignment with your internal stakeholders, human resources, workers' council. All of those things are very important when you're putting together a supply chain academy. We need to be walking towards the same direction. If you have any roadblocker, like by the workers' council or HR, that would just delay the process. That will not be something that would optimize or make fast the implementation of supply chain academy. So those are the three key learnings that we got. To be clear on what you want to have, because the scope of a supply chain academy can be a very vast one. Find the right partner and do the right internal alignments. Have the major stakeholders together with you on implementing the supply chain academy. So the three main pillars from our academy in the end, Bernard, they are based on the pillars that we have within supply chain. In the end, we have our dashboard of supply chain, where the element people is one of them. It has always been there. We have had already, we are on our third CPO, but that's if there is one element which is common to the three CPOs as being people. So within people, if I take a look on the three major pillars of our academy, the first one is improving performance. So that's something that we really want to see. We want to see on the daily activities. We don't want to send people to our academy that they learn, and in the end, they do not apply what they learn. That's why, for instance, in every single certificate program that we have been running together, we needed to have a payback of the investment delivered via a specific project. So we want to have a hands-on and a real application of what people do. The second element, the second pillar of our academy is diversity. We want to have as much as possible everyone from the entire group participating on the academy. So that's something that we try to promote, not only in Germany, but in UK, Sweden, Hungary, Czech. We have done that together as well, that in many cases we have even sent our learning to the region where the people were sitting. If language is a topic, we will find a way of actually breaking this barrier. But having this diversity and taking the different points of view from the different business is a second pillar. The third pillar that we have within our supply chain academy is that we want to have our people really focus on what matters. We don't want to spend too much time, for example, on people focusing on the very small topics related to procurement, but instead to be aware about what's happening, to be aware about the trends, the new trends of what's happening in supply chain. And our academy should reflect that. We should have obviously showcases which are related to the industry that we are in, to the energy industry, but we would like to have as much as possible a very update scenario of what's new in supply chain, what's new in procurement, what is up to date. We want to have a moving supply chain academy. We don't want something static. So from our perspective, those will be the three main pillars that we need to focus on. All right. So as I said, diversity is something very important to us, and basically all countries that we are in has already gone through the academy. Okay. So from the Odeon, I can name, for example, Germany, which is what we have our headquarters, UK, Sweden, Romania, Hungary, Czech Republic, Italy. With the acquisition of energy, we are now incorporating new countries into our portfolio as well. So we're adding, for instance, Poland, which was something that we didn't have before, but we have already had this year. And we are planning to incorporate as well Croatia and Slovenia, where we do have some people sitting there as well. If you're talking about how many people, we normally divide the assistance into blocks. One is a certificate program that we have been running together, where we officially certified our people in 3 levels: professional, expert, and manager. And out of this program, we have already had 153 people participating. If you take a look on the general trainings, which is either via e-learnings or on a standalone course as well, I would say that we have already reached more than 500 people in different trainings. This considering an organization which is focused to be 648 employees. So I can say very proudly that we have already touched the vast majority of the organization. And we have done that not only for the very traditional procurement roles, like, for instance, global category manager or international category leader, but we have also had regional category managers. We have had purchasers participating, and we have put our managers to participate into that as well, Bernard. We have had from N-3 level, which are the heads of, even to director level, having directors participating into the academy as well. So I'm quite proud about the range and how we have touched the vast majority of the organization. So for me, the role has been a very crucial one as well, because within the academy, we actually identify the different capability gaps, the different skill gaps that we have within the group. Whenever you bring people into class, normally you will find that some companies were focusing more in some areas, some companies were focusing more in other areas. And the academy is crucial for us because it really helps us, first of all, to identify the skill gaps and the capability gaps in order to see where we need to focus further. That's one point. And perhaps the most important topic is that, as out of every single merger, as you know, Bernard, one of the key elements that every single merger has in common is the delivery of synergies. So we went through this synergies delivery program as of last year. We are carrying on this year as well, and we are continuing with our synergies delivery program by 2022. And the role of the academy has been crucial on the point of improving people's skills so they could be ready to actually better deliver the synergies. And deliver the synergies is not only the low-hanging fruits of going and renegotiating with the supplier, but really going deep into understanding what is the difference between one business model and the other, and how can you take benefit of both, for instance. Has a lot to do with make or buy, has a lot to do with best cost country, has a lot to do with costing. And the role of the academy has been crucial into that, because our people, they will definitely better prepare for facing the synergy delivery plan. I can say proudly that we have reached and we have achieved our targets from last year. We are on a very good track on what comes to deliver our synergies targets for 2021. And we believe that we will also deliver without major concerns our targets for 22. And that has a crucial impact on what we promise to the capital markets. Because out of the merger, there is a clear message coming from the top that we deliver what we promise to deliver. Okay, so there were basically two different dimensions that we put on the table. The first one was that we wanted to improve people's skills. And by improving people's skills, obviously, we needed to have an assessment of the SS in order to see how the to be would look like. So we agreed with HR that we were coming from point zero. So let's do an assessment. Let's see where our people are, okay? And let's see where we want to be. Then we decided to add this element into a document which we already had, into a tool that we already had within EO, which was what we call the PDP. It's the personal development plan. So each employee in supply chain, following our normal HR alignment, should have a personal development plan. And what we said was that in order to move from A to B, from the assessment to where we wanted to be, those were the trainings needed in order to provide this person this track to move from A to B. We had a second element, which was differing a little bit from the regular trainings that we were providing, which was a certificate. On the certificate, we had to have very clear with the HR as well as with the Workers' Council, the co-determination bodies, that it should be something aimed to support the development of any employee. Having a certificate which is valid, especially in Europe, and it is really well recognized, will give the employee the possibility of further improving his own CV as well. So that was something that we have agreed on. And we have agreed as well that we needed to be very neutral from the perspective that some people would pass the certificate and some other people will not pass. And that should be something normal. In the end, we are not expecting to validate or to certify the entire company. It wouldn't happen. Why? Because we had different levels of capabilities. And if in the end, we will certify the entire company, we should actually revise our own certification program to see if it was the right one. So it was really like a mini course or a mini masters that we applying within supply chain in order to get people certified and using the skills and using the diploma that we're getting out there in the market. A mix of both. And I tell you why. Obviously, we wanted to have the generic standard concept understood and well known by all of our people, all of our buyers. But I will give you one concrete example, Bernard. Our business, as you know, is the energy business. We are not like an automotive company, for example. We don't really produce a product in the end that is delivered. So yes, it is good to understand manufacturing process or costing within manufacturing process, but we cannot have a very close eye on that, or we cannot go too deep into that because it's not part of our reality. Another instance, logistics costs, for example. Logistics is something that we need to understand. Normally, it doesn't play a very, I would say, deep role into the model of the business that we actually have. It's not, as I said, like in the automotive industry. So our aim was that everyone would have the generic understanding about the basics that we needed to have, but going deeper into the real topics that could create value to a supply chain from the energy business. So we tailored some showcases together. We tailored the trainings that we needed to have, going from this generic perspective, but narrowing down in the end to being more specified on what comes to the topics, which would have a higher impact into our business model. Okay, so overall, our supply chain academy is done in English. That's the primary language
Okay.
that we have, right? Why do we say that? Because we want to be one supply chain. And yes, we acknowledge that not everyone is completely fluent in English. That's something that we are completely aware of. Nevertheless, parallel to the development of what comes to the skills of our people, we also need to invest on developing the language skills of our people as an enabler for the organization to interact even further. Fine. If we park this for one time and coming back to the acknowledgement we make that not everyone is on this level, the solution we found together in the end was that for some people, perhaps it would be difficult that they would attend, for instance, the certificate program because they will not be able to speak English, or that they will not be able to attend the regular standalone courses or some of the e-learnings, but we decided to send our trainers to the regions that they could speak local language. We have done that in Czech, we have done that in Hungary, we have done that in Sweden, for instance. And obviously, we will not be able to cover every single course that we have within the Supply Chain Academy. Obviously, it will not replace, in the end, the certificate program as such, but we will cover the basic needs. What people need to learn the most would be covered. And that was done on their native language. So we sent people there. It was very well appreciated by the colleagues. It was appreciated by the local management as well, because again, language shall not be a barrier. Language should be an enabler. And we keep working on actually trying to further improve English specifically, because even though we found the solution of sending our trainers to the regions, what we want in the end is that everyone is able to communicate, that everyone gets together, that we have this interface between Swedish, Romanians, Czechs, Germans, and English together. So we want to have that because we believe that that creates value as well. Personally, I wouldn't go for that. As I mentioned to you, I believe that the social element is crucial. Okay, we are not machines. It's not about sitting in front of a screen and just learning. You're learning by talking to people as well. You're learning by exchanging. And even though we can do that, and we have learned all of us to do that on the digital world, the social element for me is still there and will be there after COVID as well. So I believe that this interaction between people is needed. It's needed that they sit together. It's needed that they see each other's face. That helps to build trust from one side. And I believe that trust is something, is one of the core values that we need to have in procurement and supply chain as well. I believe we're going to be having a mix. Perhaps we're going to be having more digital than what we had before, but with still the face-to-face element. I give one example. I normally like to sit together with the people in the inauguration of each of the certificate courses, either me or our CPO, which in the past used to be Claudia Viol and now is Lisbeth Bushko. This is something that I'm missing. I'm missing to sit together with them. I'm missing that after the very first day of class, for instance, we sit together and I ask them, how did it go? How was it? And perhaps we have a coffee together and perhaps we have a sandwich together. So this is something that I'm looking forward for having. I don't believe we're going to be fully digital. We have the capabilities of doing so, but it's not about having the capabilities, it's about wanting to do so. I believe we're going to increase substantially still because we have learned how to live in this digital form, but I don't believe we're going to move to an entire digital approach here. My consideration about Procurement Academy and about regionalized pedagogy. So first of all, Procurement Academy for me is not a plus anymore in large organizations, it's a must. I believe that all large organizations and even medium organizations should have a Procurement Academy. For me, it was one of the best investments, as I mentioned in the beginning, that we could have made. For me, we need to go, and that's something that I always defend here, that we live in a globalized world. And I think this COVID, I have been to some of the CPO roundtables together with your teams, Bernard, And there was something that I have listened there and I kept. For me, this COVID situation just show us that this entire discussion between being globalized or regionalized becomes no nonsense anymore. We actually need to be both. We need to be globalized and we need to have a regional footprint anyhow. So from the academic perspective, I would say that every company needs to have a supply chain academy, a procurement academy. I would say that each company needs to have this global approach, but considering the regional elements that we have, because we are not only one business. I give you, for instance, the point of view that we have in Lyon. Now we don't have the renewables business anymore, but we have the energy networks business and we have the customer solutions business. They're quite different, not only from the geographic perspective about where the companies are sitting at, but also about the mindset, what is important for the business. So this regional piece of what is important to the business needs to be taken into consideration. You can't have one umbrella. We only follow one way of doing things, as you have a frame which is the same. But you need to count on those different regional elements, which are either specific to business or specific to regions or specific to whatever. And that needs to be embedded into the different discussions that we have within your supply chain academy.